live. Stop messing with your mic.
Sorry.
We'll wait for a bunch of people to join real quick before we start the thing.
Okay.
The intros here. Everyone just like enjoy the music. Make sure everything's working right. It says we're live. I don't know if we are though. Go to the channel. Oh,
yeah. It is.
Yeah. I see that. I'm gonna jacket real quick. I'm cold.
Okay.
Sweet. Here, let me tell my mom. Tell her to get on here real quick. Call her. She's been waiting for me to do this.
Hello?
Hey.
Hey.
Are you driving?
Yeah.
Oh.
Why?
I was calling you to tell you that I'm live streaming the horror story channel. We're gonna do a story here.
I'm almost home. Send me the link or whatever.
Okay, I'll send you a link. Yeah.
Right, thanks.
All right, bye. So funny. It's so funny.
I was choking on water.
Okay. Andrea's super nervous, guys. So like, it's her first live stream ever. I have a lot of experience. She has. Do you guys do live streaming when you do like your regular podcast? Oh no.
No.
You're just recording.
We just record it and eventually they get posted.
So the reason why I'm transitioning to live is because it's just easier for me to edit this way. Because like, if I need to make it a short form, it's already VODed and people can, go back and watch it live instead of me taking forever to edit. I've been taking forever to edit everything. It's just less stress for me. I'm also prefer live format more than compared to video format.
Yeah, I'm not nervous at all.
Terrified. Let me see this audio. Let me see what the audio sounds like. Do we sound good? Oh yeah, we sound crystal clear. All right, we're just waiting for a little bit more people to come in, guys. Just hold on there. I see that there's 3 people waiting. We're gonna get a story. We're gonna get onto the story today, which is gonna be a pretty good one. It's a slow burn, but there's a lot of good stuff in it. So hopefully we're get a little spooked tonight. And everyone's getting done with dinner, so it's perfect time, right? Everyone's bellies are full, ready to just relax. I'm gonna go put my jacket on real quick.
Relax with some creepy stories. Oh no, you left me.
Right here, I'm right in the room. All right. Oh, cold. I keep my house super cold because I have to keep my windows open because my cat likes to destroy all the curtains. So my house just gets warmed up real quick. Have you? There's a horror movie came out recently.
In theaters or like, what is it?
No. Have you seen Hunting Wives?
Of course I have.
Great show.
That was such a good show.
Did you watch the whole thing?
Oh yeah, in one day.
That was a thriller too. I was like, I knew she had something to do with it the whole time. I was like, I thought she was doing, like, I knew she was involved somehow, right? So I kind of had guessed at the beginning, That was a great show.
That was a good show.
That was good. What am I missing here? All right. So did you pull up the 2 Cents Horse?
Oh no. My
I
bad.
want to get these names out the way. I don't like them here. I want them to go away.
Where are those?
Guest see viewer comments and posts. Yep. Guest can stream this to play sound when visual effects. I don't like it. Alright, I guess there's nothing I can do there. I don't know how to get these like little name things out of here. I don't want them there. I think it's distracting.
I don't know. I don't know how to remove it. Hey, where are the 1-story ones?
So go on. You're gonna go on to You're gonna go on to just Reddit and just type in find a community and do 2 Sentence Horrors. Yeah. I'm gonna read a couple of those before we start the main story. Oh, there's a chat here. Oh, it's you. You chatted.
I said something?
Yeah, you said this is different, Andrea. Did you type in the chat?
Oh, earlier. I was waiting for you. And I was
Oh,
like,
that's like the live chat.
Oh,
That's
my
private
bad.
chat. Oh wait, no, that's not the private chat. No, this is the right chat. Okay, you're saying that to me.
Yeah.
Never mind. Show comments on stage. Do we want that? Yeah.
No.
No? We want the comments to come up here? Alright. She's second. Can we talk more about hunting wise? Alright, let's do it. What do you want to talk about? That's my show. I am upset with the ending. And I'll tell you guys why once we get to there, but I am upset with the ending.
Why?
I just don't like it when shows. Pull up your chat, by the way. You see the comments at the top? It's on your right. All right, look. I'm a big fan of like 1-season shows. Like I like my 10-season shows that are like comedies that just like kind of like these are like your comfort food. But I hate it when they try to set up a second season. There's no reason for that show to have a second season. It should have been wrapped up.
No, we need more. We need more hunting wives. We need more hot girls on there. We need more drama.
I think you're right. I'm not sure how to say your name. Is it Sarah or Sarah? How do you pronounce it? Give me some phonetics here. But I think if the show was longer than like what was it, 8 episodes? If it was like 10 or 12, and they wrapped it all up into a good, nice, neat little bow with no cliffhanger. And listen, if they want to do a second season after that, that's fine. But don't leave the show off on a cliffhanger when every conflict in the show basically came to a close. Why would they do that?
Because it's going to be another big thing on season 2, and it's going to be like, ooh, we need to keep watching this.
No, okay, so everyone's against me here. Everyone wants another season. My bad. All right, maybe it's just me. I like limited series. I don't know. I'm ready whenever you are.
I'm ready.
Did you pull up some sentences? Did you like go to 2 Sentence Horse? You got some that you want to do?
Yeah, I got one.
I got one. Okay, yeah, we can do like a couple. All right, let's go ahead and change up the music real quick. I gotta figure out how to get back to it though. Media. All right.
Creepy.
Yeah. Let me turn it down just a bit so they can hear us. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and all right. Let's do the intro real quick because we're gonna get lost here.
Yeah.
So this is our first ever live stream for the podcast. We usually do video editing format, and I'm sick and tired of it. Okay, it's too much. This is gonna be like a little rough, I think, because we're not gonna have all the frills that I have when I edit things, but I live stream every day, so it'll come into fruition at some point. But I just got sick of editing. It takes too much time, and I have way too much going on right now. So we're just gonna do live format for the rest of the time. We're gonna read y'all stories live, and y'all can comment, suggest things, whatever you guys want. You can guys tell us your theories during the show. So it'll be awesome. I think it's gonna be fun. Today we're gonna be reading a story. It's a two-parter, by one of our esteemed authors that we've read multiple stories of. His name is J.L. Goodwin 1990 on Reddit. He posts on r/nosleep mainly, and he does a couple other communities. This story is called "I Purchased a Journal at an Algerian Market. The final entries told a horrific tale." I shortened title up a little bit for YouTube because that did not fit, but that's it. This is the first part, and then there's going to be a final part after this, so it's going to be a little bit longer. But before we do that, we're going to start off the stream. We're first off chatting with you guys, right? And getting to know you guys a little bit, and then we're going to then do a couple 2-sentence horrors. Maybe we'll do like a short story at the beginning of the live stream, so it'll adapt as we go on. But today, for the first one, we're going to do a couple 2-sentence horrors. Now, the funny thing about these 2-sentence horrors is that sometimes they're not very scary. They're not very good, but they are amusing. So that's why I like reading them. So Andrea's going to go ahead and read 2, and I will read 2.
Okay, I don't know if I'm going to do this right, but it says, I looked up 2-sentence horror stories.
But did you go to the community? Did you go to community at the top? And you click 2-sentence horror community?
No.
Okay. We'll figure it out later. No big deal.
Hold on. My bad. I was not prepared.
She's guys, you gotta be good with her. She's nervous. She's never
I'm
live
so
before.
nervous. Okay, I'm in the community now.
Okay, go ahead and just read a couple off.
Okay.
I'm sending a bunch of links out. Sorry, that's why I'm looking down.
Okay. When I was a young man during the war, I made a deal with the devil to save my town that caused an entire fleet of bombers to vanish into thin air. Laying on my deathbed nearly a century later, I understood where those planes went when the klaxon called the long dormant air raid sirens sounded once more. I don't know what I'm doing. You go.
Wait, that was a 2-sentence one? That seemed pretty long.
That was a 2-sentence one.
Was that a run-on sentence?
No, yeah, the first one was.
J.L. Goodwin just replied. He said, "Hey guys, author of the main story in the house. Glad I got home in time. We're glad to have you."
Thanks for joining.
All right. I'm just gonna I just scrolled down and I just found one. This one's by u/driver85. I give up. What's 8 feet tall with gray skin and no face? I sighed at my child indulgently. That's weird. Wait, what? Does that mean they're gonna eat the child?
I don't know.
I don't know, but it's walking up behind you.
The child is a monster.
Ugh. Another 2-sentence horror here. Call this number, the doctor whispered to my wife, and for 100,000 they can find your husband a transplant liver as soon as tomorrow. Later that evening, I overheard my wife asking someone at the phone how much she could get for a fresh set of kidneys of a human heart.
What the fuck?
She's gonna sell her husband's organs. It's crazy.
Oh my god, she better get some money from it. Oh, I found one. They always say that the value of an artist's pieces goes up when the artist dies. Now that I found where he lives, my collection is about to skyrocket.
Ugh. My wife kissed me goodnight, but her tongue didn't stop sliding down my throat. By the time I could scream, it was already in my lungs. All
Ew,
right.
what?
Oh, I don't like it. No.
I did not like that. Thank you.
No, thank you. Okay, all right, we're done with those.
Yeah, we're done.
I went to the kitchen for a midnight snack when I heard it behind me, the sound of a man standing perfectly still. That would freak you the fuck out. That's a good one. I like that one.
That's
a
like the
good one.
beginning of a scary story or like a movie.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, we're going to go ahead and start the story here. We will see what accent I decide to do today, if any. Do we have any? Let's see. Do we have any speaking parts? We don't have a lot, so what we'll do like every two paragraphs.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we'll do paragraphs. Welcome, whoever just joined in. We are about to start, so perfect timing. All right, go ahead, take it away. You always start us off.
Okay. I travel a lot. Without getting too in-depth about the particulars in my life and career, I will say that my job ends up taking me all over the world. I've been to just about every continent on the planet, with the exception of somewhere in Antarctica, and the number of countries I haven't stepped foot in rapidly shrinks every year. It's absolutely amazing, as I've been able to see and partake in so many different customs, cultures, and lifestyles. And one thing I always love to do is purchase a souvenir to take home with me, a sort of keepsake to mark my first time in a new country that I can take down from the shelf and look at when the nostalgia hits me. It can be anything, whether an ornamental figurine, a glass, or a book. That's where the reason I'm writing and posting here comes in. You see, a few months ago, I was sent to Algeria to help oversee a business deal with a client was involved in. The main dealings had wrapped up, and after a few days of exploring the capital city of Algiers, I decided to take a final stroll through one of the many bazaars I had come to adore, pursuing in my off time the day before my flight left back to the States. I'd already had it in mind to find something to buy as a memento, and so I strolled past the vendors selling fruit and other various foods, looking for something interesting. And as I passed a table, which was selling various bits and bobs, it caught my eye.
It was an old leather-bound journal, clasped tightly shut with what appeared to be a belt closure of some kind. The leather looked extremely weathered, beaten and worn, as it had sat in the burning desert sun for decades, and the edges of the pages I could see were yellowed with age. My curiosity piqued. I pointed to it and asked the seller about where it had come from. Rather strangely, he seemed wary of saying exactly where and when it had come into his possession, instead only saying that he'd stumbled across it during his travels. My curiosity now firmly in the red zone due to its mysterious nature, I inquired to its price. He had no sooner quoted me a price than I was pushing the money into his hand. It was practically a steal. However, I admit one thing which unnerved me, to say the least. As I hurried away back in the direction of my hotel, I chanced a look over my shoulder and found that the man was watching me leave, a strange and almost intense look on his face. Ooh, that's kind of like the story I wrote. It's kind of like how I wrote mine not too long ago. That's funny. Very similar. That night, my bags packed and lying in bed, I found myself unable to sleep. After trying to tempt the Sandman for a few hours, I finally gave up and wanting something to pass the time. I picked the journal up, unbuckled it, and opened it to the first page. To my surprise, I found the entries were in English. The journal had belonged to a British explorer and adventurer, whose name, according to the inscription on the back of the cover, was Liam Wentworth. Great name. The dates inside ranged from the late 1940s to the early 50s, and I read each page with rapt attention, extraordinary images swirling in my mind as Liam narrated to me expeditions which ranged from continental Europe to Africa. I couldn't help but smile as the infectious excitement in his writings pulled me further and further into the past, and almost wished I could be transported back in time to join him. Just saying, I like it so far. I like where we're going with it.
Me too. I'm a little scared.
We are live, Labona. We are live. The first one ever. And not the last.
That was until I began to read the last...
Britain ruined Africa. I just wanted to point that out. They ruined that whole region from their colonization and exploring and grave robbing. Okay, moving
robbing? On. I didn't know that was part of that.
Yes.
All right, so that was until I began to read the last expedition logged in the journal. From the very first entry, I could tell there was something different about this particular journey. Something about the man's words filled me with an unexplainable sense of unease. And as the entries went on, I felt any sense of excitement and wonder wash away like a flood victim. The initial uneasiness first replaced with tension, then a strange sense of paranoia, and finally, as much as I hate admitting it, fear. A palpable sense of fear and existential dread I've never felt before. One which raised all the hair on my arms, and even in the safety of my hotel room, made me turn on every single light, banishing away any shadows in the corner. Especially because the final written pages were stained with long dried liquid that, God, I still hope it isn't what I think it is. And when my plane took off from a place,
I'm gonna try to say it. Hurari Boumediene.
Yeah.
I feel like that's right.
That sounds right. The next morning, my window giving me a clear view of the sprawling Algerian desert stretching out way into the distance, I involuntarily shuddered. For months, I was unsure of what to do. I considered taking the journal to a historian or a museum to verify its authenticity, but I'm worried that it will be simply written off as a hoax or forgery. The few friends and acquaintances of mine I have shared little of the contents with have met it with the same response. It has to be a stunt, just something to scare whoever bought it. Worse still, I've had some of the worst nightmares of my life, horrible dreams that wake me up covered in a sheen of sweat even months later. Finally, though, after discovering the website and more importantly, this particular page on it, I feel here would be the best place to share it.
Written below, transcribed exactly as originally written, are all the relevant entries from Liam's last expedition. I may need to split them up into 2 parts due to the length of some of them. Let me know what you think of it when you're done reading. And if there is any shred of truth to what is written here, as much as it might cost me work in the future, I may never step foot in that part of the world again. All right. Go ahead and do these transcripts. Monday, 23rd of June, 1952. After a 4-month rest, another adventurer is at hand. A fortnight ago, I received a call at home from a wealthy American business magnate. Magnate. By the name of Tolly. Apparently, Mr. Danvers had boasted of my qualifications and invaluable help during his expedition to Mauritania at a luncheon with him. And when told of the similar endeavor that the man wished to embark on the nearby country of Algeria, he instantly recommended me to him. I was already interested when he had told me of his intentions. And after he quoted me the fee he would pay, I hastily accepted. The amount of money offered in the kind that not even many film stars in the country receive. Indeed, it is triple what Diana Dors That is a Diana Dors. That's from the last story, right?
The singer?
Yeah, from the Vegas one.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure. Was reportedly paid recently for her part in the last page, and with my dear sister's health always in flux, it is an amount I would be a fool to refuse. Take it away.
And so, after much planning and subsequent connecting flights from London, I am now in the city of Algiers, where the rest of our party has assembled. I first met Tolly as he met me just outside the airport. A tall, lanky chap with thinning black hair, he instantly struck me as inexperienced with such expeditions. It set me a little on edge. If I may be frank, too many parties have tragically failed due to such sponsors. Yet, as I was taken to a nearby cafe and introduced to the rest of the team, I felt somewhat relieved at the faces that greeted us. 3 of the expedition's 9 members are ones I have worked with before. Soren, a hulking giant of a Dane, Richer, a quiet yet intimidating German, and Moretti, whose boastful demeanor sometimes hides how brilliant of a leader the Italian can be. 3 of the other 4, excluding myself and Tolly, are people who I've heard spoken of in similar circles. Blake is the group's archaeologist, a fellow Brit I cannot say that word.
Alluring.
Brunette, who seems as if she might be on the movie screen instead of here. Corin is the group's medic, a bloke who earned the scars on his face from his time in the war. And Samir is one of our 2 guides, a man whose wild hair and beard doesn't seem to match the intelligence that I see behind his eyes. The final member of the group is our second guide, an almost gaunt young man, no older than 20, whose name I was told is Tarek. He did not speak when introductions were given. Instead, he merely nodded at us. I find he gives me an uncomfortable sort of aura, but according to both Tally and Moretti, he is indispensable to our ultimate goal, which is when discussion shifted over to our ultimate aim. What's their goal? Did I miss that?
The goal is I thought they were exploring something. Aren't they going to like an expedition to like figure out something about this book, right? Oh, by the way, he did say that it's the same actress from the Vegas story.
Nice.
I bet you I'll call out a couple of other similarities from his other stories once we keep going.
Okay. Wait,
you left off at eyes, right? Behind his eyes, right?
Uh-oh. Hold on. I got lost.
Oh.
Yeah. No.
Right.
You in a hushed tone.
Oh. In a hushed tone, Tully leaned in and told us of a tale he had stumbled across during his dealings in the area. He had hinted about a great treasure lost in the desert decades ago over the phone. But as I listened to him, oh my goodness, there's some big words in here. Extrapolate. I felt my jaw drop open. According to accounts, a decade and a half or so ago, a group of soldiers belonging to the French Foreign Legion, searching for a safe haven, had stumbled upon a forest built into a vast mountain range. Centuries old, the structure had been abandoned, and after discovering that a pump connected to an underground water source of some kind, the soldiers had set up a base camp, complete with radio and arsenal. They stayed in contact with their superiors for approximately 5 months, reporting back periodically and requesting supplies. Then, on the 6th month, the fort went silent. No matter how long it was hailed, no one ever answered the radio calls. And reinforcements group had been sent to try and ascertain what happened to them. But they seemed to disappear into the desert as well. Eventually, all the men were declared lost in action. It wouldn't have been the first time that soldiers had met their end on the receiving end of the local sword and guns. After all, fearing further casualties, the fort was declared a hostile zone, and any further attempt to reach it was forbidden. Next paragraph is yours. They're just super big.
As the years went by, and with the outbreak of the war, the fort's location and reports on it were lost in the shuffle, further hampered by the fact that it seemed someone in a high position had stricken it from all maps and public record. But somehow, after hearing the stories, Tolly had used his connections to obtain one of the only remaining maps which marked its location. As he finished, I cocked an eyebrow and asked him how this was all connected to what he had lured me. And asked him how this all connected to what he had lured me here with the reports of a vast lost treasure. An almost childish smile spread across Tolly's face. You want to read that?
No, keep going. Oh, this is the... You ain't heard the best part yet, my dear boy.
That was when the penny dropped. According to a radio report that the fort's commanding officers made, they had found in the bowels of the fort a room which, when breached, had revealed a staggering amounts of jewels, coins, and other treasures. The exact monetary value it had never been calculated, but seeing as how most of the hoard was dated back to the Ottoman Empire, it had to be a tremendous amount. By this point, our sponsor had our undivided attention, and dreams of being forever logged in the history books danced in our heads. That's when Tolly let us in on the most important fact of the expedition. If we locate the fort and find the treasure was only a tale...
What are you doing?
Sorry.
Hey.
My bad.
Well, reread that. Reread that last sentence. I read the dialogue.
I know, I forget. That's when Tolly let us in on the most important fact of this expedition.
If we locate the fort and find the treasure was only a tale or fail to find it at all, you all will be paid the exact amount I quoted you.
He began, his eyes twinkling.
But if we do find it, each of you will receive an equal share of the treasure, in addition to your names forever written as the finders.
To say that you could have heard a pin drop amongst us would be a grievous understatement. For a moment, nobody spoke. I was the first to open my mouth.
I can't do a British accent, so I'm just gonna read that one normally. Okay. Yes, bloody hell, yes!
As if my words had been a sort of catalyst, everyone else quickly piped up their own agreement. Tally beamed. He knew he had ensnared us, and he reveled in it. Ensnared. And he reveled in it. He told us that we could board a plane bound in the Salah the next day. Sorry, there's a lot of words that I'm not pronouncing correctly, but it's fine. We're just going to keep going.
Just keep going.
From there, we would continue in the Land Rovers, of us disbanded as well. And now here I sit, staring out the window at the rising moon with my pen in hand. I am beyond thrilled. The prospect of becoming wealthy beyond my wildest dreams, of being able to afford all of my sister's medicines and procedures, to say nothing of my own frivolities and fantasies, is intoxicating.
And yet, I can't help but feel a strong sense of trepidation over what I was told as well. The fact that two different groups of soldiers seem to simply disappear without a trace, it gives me pause. Even though I attempted to push it away, a small whisper of dread climbs over me. I picture the men cowering in the night, guns frantically aimed into the dark as something moves towards them. But surely anything that happened to them so long ago, any people who did them harm surely have moved on, which means we should be perfectly safe. I worry too much. Well, that seems that's like what you would say where it's like, oh, the words before disaster.
Like famous last words?
Yeah, famous last words. That's your famous last words.
I mean, if other people have never made it out from this,
I'm not going.
I'm not going either.
Actually, I take it back. Maybe I would go.
I would not go. You're about to get haunted. And also, you can't take money that you find. That's like, you're going to die.
Oh, you're talking about like
treasure.
Like curses? When you go, like curses, like Indiana Jones?
Yeah. You can't do that. You're just asking to be haunted for the rest of your life or die. I don't know yet.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Next.
Yep.
Tuesday, 24 June, 1952. I write this entry by the firelight next to my tent, the only thing that banishes away the most impermeable darkness that stalks the edges of the flickering embers. Early in the morning, just before the sun rose, our team boarded a chartered plane and flew south in the Salah. There we found 2 Land Rovers, paint shimmering and fresh off the production line in Solihull. They had been specifically ordered by Tolly for the journey. Supplies and enough fuel to last us a fortnight were loaded on board, and after wedging ourselves inside the space that remained, we set off and...
Sorry,
What?
go ahead. Sorry. Where are you going? Oh, she's going. Oh, got it. Sorry. The comments are coming in, but I always forget that there's like what's it called? Like a lag. So when they comment, it's already something that we've covered. So yeah, sorry.
Oh, she's going to the expedition.
To the expedition,
yeah. We set off in a westerly direction, following the road past towns with names such as Ingar and Olaf. Sure.
Finally, I think it's Olaf.
Is it?
Maybe.
Sure. Okay. Olaf. Finally, we passed through Regain, and after a last look back at civilization, we left the road and headed out into the desert itself. Saying that the intense heat would rival the flames of hell itself would not be much of an understatement. The sun beat mercilessly down upon our vehicles, turning them into saunas, and as we were attempting to converse our water supply, soon we all felt the first inklings of heat exhaustion. After stopping to quench our thirst quickly, the blessed liquid with lunch, we continued on as the sun dipped lower into the sky. As I was riding with Tali, I had the opportunity to ask him about Tarek. The man still gave me a bad feeling, and I inquired as to why he was so important to our expedition. After all, I asked, would simply Samir not make a decent enough guide?
Okay, let's pause here real quick. I gotta feed my cat. But what do you think, chat? Like the comments. What do we think was going to happen with this expedition? First off, let's do a little question time. I'll go feed my cat. You have the chat up?
Yeah,
you have the chat up? Okay.
You're gonna leave me?
Just sit. What?
You said yes, you are going on the expedition. What if you're just gonna get cursed for the rest of your life if you do that? I'm really awkward. I don't know what kind of cat it is. We'll ask him when he gets back, but he's really cute and his name is Toasty. And he's really
doing
cute.
Fine. She's crazy.
Hey, what kind of cat you got?
It's a Siamese cat.
It's a Siamese
I don't know.
cat.
I mean, you might be able to see him. Oh yeah, see.
Aw, Toasty.
He's gonna squirm now. Hello. Go eat. Go get your food. All right. All right. Let's keep going here. He left you the chat with us. Yeah, I did. Gotta get her used to it.
I'm anxious.
All right.
Do you know where I left off?
Yeah. Go ahead and read. It was then that he revealed. If you guys want to follow along, by the way, with the story, the link is in the description.
It was then that he revealed to me the secrets surrounding the man. Tarek was one of the few men left alive who had seen the fort with his own eyes, or so he claimed. He had told Tally of a time he was a small boy traveling through the desert with his father and grandfather and spying on the horizon, perched atop a mountain range like a sentry, the imposing structure. Both his elders had warned him away from it, telling him that it was a cursed place.
Load of local superstition. Oh my god. Salt vinegar got me. Load of local superstitious bull.
Tally said to me, waving a hand as if to physically repel the words. For my part, I too did not believe in such things, and yet at his words I was unable to suppress the shiver that flew up my spine slightly. It felt too coincidental, too close to the feeling of dread that fell over me last night. A second thought came to mind, and pushing away the emotions, I asked, with not knowing if the young man was telling the truth, how he could be sure he was not simply luring us into the desert for a sinister purpose.
Oh my god.
With a small, almost concealed wink, he raised his shirt, revealing a hidden pistol underneath in a holster. He informed me that several others were armed as well. A shotgun and ammunition were among our supplies.
Liam, my boy, relax. We thought of everything. We'll be ready. Nothing like the local have any surprises in store for us, or either our gods do. Just enjoy the trip in the meantime.
This sounds like overall bad ideas.
He's I haven't seen a full shadow yet, so let's keep going here. I'm still like trying to figure the story out. Something bad's gonna happen. That's the foreshadow, obviously. But
yeah. I pray that his confidence is not misplaced. We are a long way from where anyone could help us if things were to get belly up. And that isn't all. I'm the only member of our group still awake. All the others have retired to their tents, or in the case of Tarek and Samir, into the Land Rovers to sleep. The only sound I hear are the crackling of the fire and the soft, almost lonely sound of the wind whistling in the darkness. And yet, I can't help but feel watched. Even though we are certainly the only people for miles, I feel as though eyes are upon me, upon all of us. It is a feeling that is most unwelcome, and it makes me again wonder about the fates that befell the French soldiers. I find myself shooting looks out into the dark every few lines I write, almost convinced I will see eyes staring back at me from the blackness. And as much as I don't...
Go ahead. Sorry.
And as much as I don't want to, I must retire to my own tent. Dawn will be here soon enough, and we will need all our strength for the next few days.
You're going to really like the story. I forgot what it's about. Because he did give me a little bit of a hint, and you're going to really like it. I forgot about that.
Okay.
Okay. Thursday, 26 June, 1952. My mom says that you crack her up. After a second day of driving straight and following both the map and directions that Samir tells us that Tariq has given us, as the man speaks no English, we seem to have finally arrived at the base of the mountain range. According to Tariq, these are the mountains in question, and we are not far now, less than a day away. I crane my neck to look up at the imposing walls which rise high over our heads. I'm not a good estimator of such things, but I would not be surprised if the top lies hundreds of feet above us, or more. If the fort is real, then how are we to get it from down? If the fort is real, then how are we to get to it from down here? All questions that will have to be answered soon. For now, though, I will go and sit with the others, eat supper, and go to sleep. If we are being told the truth, tomorrow will be that day.
Is the fort like underground? Is it in a mountain? Is it in a cave? I'm confused. How would they not know?
It's nestled in the mountains.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's like mountains up high. Like
Yeah.
think of have you ever read Nosferatu?
No.
or seen the movie?
No.
It's like that.
Oh.
It's like in
Still
the
don't know.
mountains.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, well, I thought
I'll
you
look-
know. It's a
I'll look it
vampire
up.
movie. It's like really
No.
famous. All right, well.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
My bad.
I'll look it up after.
Okay.
Friday, 27 June, 1952. It's real. I find that even as I write these words, I feel I'm suddenly awake from a dream. And yet, right here in front of my eyes is the bloody thing. Tarek was indeed telling the truth, and it looked exactly as Tali heard. The structure is perfectly nestled atop and similarly among the mountains, surely built there by some Ottoman architect or soldier with the perfect idea of strategic planning. The fort has a clear view down the desert where we stand below and is set far enough back in the surrounding lands act as a sort of natural shield. It is a perfect choke point, to say the least. Churchill himself would be impressed.
According to the Blake... Go ahead.
Nope. Go ahead.
According to the Blake, the style and architecture is indeed indicative of the Ottoman Empire, either Arabic or North African. The three front turrets rise imposingly around the rest of the complex, their windows dark and unrevealing of their secrets. Surprisingly, and thankfully as well, there will be no need to worry about climbing. Tarek pointed us to a set of steps carved into the mountains themselves. They are fairly steep, but they surely beat the alternative. As it is late, we will make camp here and at the base tonight. In the morning, we will pack all our supplies and make the climb to the fort itself. Finally, I must admit that the feeling I had in the desert 2 nights ago remains. In fact, it almost feels stronger in a way. But with the excitement palpable amongst us all, I refuse to let it sour the mood. It will be stored away in the recesses of my mind. Tomorrow, we begin to take a step toward both history and possibly fortune.
I don't know. All these
So we got they're saying here, like the lost Ark of Noah's. Kind of like what they're describing, the mountain. You know what that is? She's not she doesn't know much about religion either.
I don't.
So that's gonna go over her head too. So we're just gonna keep going here.
I'm just gonna look it up after.
Yeah.
It's fine. Saturday, 28 June, 1952. I write from the inside of the central courtyard of the fort itself. I was correct in my assessment that it would be a steep climb, but aside from a few scrapes among all and a bloody knuckle suffered by Soren, we reached the top eventually. From there, we found the path already made, albeit almost hidden by the ever-sweeping sands. But the cracked wooden rail that marked the edge off the cliff showed the way. After a trek of about a quarter of an hour, we found ourselves at a gate which marked the outer rim of the complex. The top was wrapped in barbed wire, and an unlocked gate sat half open in front of us. Richer, feeling that we would be better off closing it behind us, walked into a neighboring guard post and lowered a barrier to prevent anyone entering when our backs were turned. Together, we made our way up the steep path in the front of the fort itself. At the front gates, we discovered a relic from the First World War, a French FT tank sitting empty and half buried in the sand. The turret faced away from us, back the way we'd come. I wondered how both... I got lost for a second, sorry. Backed away from us...
Big paragraph.
Yeah, I don't know. I got lost. The turret faced away from us, back the way we'd come. I wondered both how it had gotten up here and what it had been put in place for. With the last look on the arrangement, we pushed open the 2 colossal wooden doors and entered the fort.
All right. We found ourselves inside an expensive... Wait, what?
I just read the comment.
Oh, yeah.
I need some history.
Yeah.
Some history classes.
Yeah. Anyway, we found ourselves inside an expansive country yard that stretched out before us and to both sides. To the right was what appeared to be a smaller country yard of some sort, embellished with a few small bushes and date plums. Wandering over to it, I found that at the far end of the smaller space was a fountain of rusted pump set into a back corner. Tentatively, I put my hand, gathered some water from the fountain, and raised it to my lips.
Why would you do that?
Alrighty. The water tasted somewhat stagnant, but otherwise was fine.
Oh, shit.
Reaching out and operating the pump, I found it readily supplied fresh water. Turning, I found Moretti beside me. He smiled. "It's a water garden! Well then, this solves any concern of running out of water. There must be an underground lake or river somewhere beneath us." Thanks, Moretti, for pointing out the obvious. I agree with him, and after a last look around at the perfect, peaceful scene, he returned to the others. After telling them of our discovery, we sat our supplies down and began as a group to explore.
I feel like that's where... Why would you do that? That's where, brain-eating diseases come from, just like stagnant water.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of like it's like it happens a lot with dumb kids, but they'll jump into like puddles of water or like abandoned pools when they're like doing like dumb stuff, when they're like trespassing into like abandoned buildings, stuff like that. They'll jump into water or lakes and they'll get some type of parasite and they'll fucking die.
Yeah, so you don't touch water. That's no.
I was a dumb kid once when we were playing Survivor in the backyard of my friend's house. I think I was like 8. I was drinking puddles. Never got sick though, so that's why my immune is so strong.
I wouldn't recommend it to do that now, but yeah.
This Goodwin says it was the early 50s, so things like brain eating and malbase weren't really known about. That's true. That's a good point. That is a good point.
Where were we?
You're like, just put some dirt in it. Just rub some dirt in it. It'll be all right. You're fine. Green means it's healing. That cut on you, the green means it's healing. That ooze coming out, that's just your body taking out the infection.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't mean you're about to lose a limb.
It's not sepsis.
Aside
from the water garden.
Aside from the water garden, there were 2 main buildings inside the fort. The largest building, according to the rickety wood sign hung by the front door, declared it to be the living quarters, while a second sunken building was designated the arsenal. After a small deliberation, we chose to enter the main building first. The interior showed that nature had taken its toll on the fort. Beams had collapsed from the upper levels, and sand rose in small mounds, making us have to navigate around the debris. The rest of the quarters were in much the same condition, though with much more signs of life. Pillows, rugs, and the other furniture were around. There were also plenty of candles and lamps hanging from the beams above, all of which were lit as we passed. We located the radio room, which I noted with a pang of unease had been vandalized. Both the radio and telegraph machines had been destroyed. Clearly, someone had not wanted anyone to send any messages or calls for help. I would just not go in there.
Interesting.
What made the scene worse was the obvious signs of struggle, which were ever present throughout the whole building. Some of the group didn't notice, but I saw that Soren and Richard, along with myself, the 3 who saw the most combat in our lives, did. The spilled chairs, crumbled blankets, and broken glass and wood all told a tale. It was one that made the feelings of dread rear its head in my mind. And worse, the feeling of eyes on me was a feverish pitch. As we made our way through, my head swung about like an owl's, looking not only into the shadows, but onto the rafters as well. At one point, as I brought up the rear of the group, I felt as though fingers had slipped along the nape of my neck. Nope. And my pulse quickened. My breathing going shallow as I froze on the spot. Terror filling every fiber of my being, I whirled around and found no one. All I could hear was the soft creaking of the building and the whistling of the wind outside. Not wanting to remain alone, I hurried after the others. Nope. Just no.
Can we just take a break right here? Just like take a pause for like 2 seconds. And how spot on I am with the thumbnail. Not reading the story at all. I think I did a pretty good job. Because I mentioned like the eyes like being watched. I think I did a pretty good job. You haven't seen the thumbnail yet. Talking to the chat, but you should go look at it. But pretty spot on. Not gonna lie. Pretty good. All right.
Ooh, that's terrifying.
They hurry away from the others, so we left off at him getting touched. After leaving the main quarters, and with daylight fading fast, we made a quick pass through this arsenal. We discovered a grisly scene. In the fort's jail, we discovered the remains of a man dressed in one of the old uniforms which designated him as part of the French Foreign Legion. His body seemed to cower in the far corner of the cell, away from all the other bars. Stranger still, Samir pointed out that he had locked himself inside. A set of keys could be seen by the desiccated corpse hand. Ooh, from what we could tell, the man hadn't died of any injuries himself either. Moretti submersed that he must have either perished from hunger or thirst. They turn. This is like a werewolf situation. This is like a Jekyll and Hyde situation. He's probably turned into some type of monster, and he locked himself in so he wouldn't hurt anybody. Ooh, keep going. We're getting somewhere here.
Yeah. Okay. We retreated back to the country yard after the courtyard after, where we set up camp in the water garden. For this, I'm eternally grateful. While the living quarters may offer more shelter from the elements than the tents, I would not be able to sleep a wink inside. I feel constantly on edge after what has been seen today, and I pray to the Lord that in time they will fade from memory.
Relax,
And I still feel we are watched. In fact, the feeling is stronger than it ever was, as if whatever is doing the watching is almost directly over us, staring down. I wonder if the feeling has anything to do with the corpses in the Arsenal jail. After all, what could drive a man to such terror that he would rather face a slow death from lack of food and water than it? Perhaps I hope to never find out, nor where the rest of the soldiers disappeared to. I hope we can find the fabled treasure quickly and be gone from this place. As much as I love adventure, I long for being back in the bedroom of my home in Maidenhead. Are we thinking monster?
Yeah, I'm thinking some type of like disease that turns him into something.
And like eats other people?
Yeah. I'm thinking something like that. Or like yeah, I'm thinking something like that.
Terrifying.
What? We're coming in here like that. Coming in here like a crate. What? Alright. Cat's like all his hair standing up, and he looks like he's trying to like pounce on me. 2 days have passed. Oh, sorry, Monday, June 30th, 1952. 2 days have passed since my last entry. We have continued to work to locate any hint of treasure, but have failed to find any trace of it anywhere in the fort. I'm beginning to think it may never have existed. Tally is trying to bolster all of our spirits, but I can sense him begin to grow wary. Like the rest of us, that foreboding feeling that has hung over my head like a noose seems to have spread among the expedition. I see it in all their faces. It increased when we found more signs of a struggle around the fort. Fingernail marks etched into the walls, as if someone were dragged away, spent ammo casings, and more. I catch others swinging around erratically, as though they had sensed somebody near them. Katamir, Tarek, and Corin huddled together, whispering softly to one another. When I approached, hearing words about leaving spoken, they stood up straight and gave me a strange look before moving quickly away. I also found that Blake tends to stick close to me now. She says it's because she feels safest with another from Britain. But I know there's a deeper reason she will not admit. Back in the war, my sergeant had told me that paranoia is one of the forces that whittle men down the quickest. I do believe he is right. They're gonna leave their asses. Those three guys are gonna leave them.
Yeah.
They're gonna abandon them in that fort. Go ahead.
Tuesday, 1 July, 1952. We are
Tuesday.
We are trapped. During the night, I awoke to hear a thunderous crashing sound, but in the darkness, I didn't know what it was. When daylight broke, we set out for the steps down the Land Rovers. We found that, during the night, something had caused a large section of them to give away. Whether it be a crack in the rock, which caused a landslide of some sort, it doesn't matter.
Oh, fuck.
The section is too vast to be able to safely jump down from, a gap of over 200 feet. And without rope, we couldn't climb down. We are stuck hundreds of feet above the desert floor with no signs of people anywhere. Fortunately, Tarek informed us through Samir that he believed as a boy he had seen a way down, further down the ridge. After quick deliberation, it was decided that Samir, along with the Richer, would set out and try and find it. The weapons we had brought were finally broken out from our supplies, and the two men were given a pistol each, along with a small supply of extra ammunition and 2 torches. They said they would attempt to return at nightfall if they could not find a way down. It is dusk now, and they have not returned yet.
Yeah.
I worry that they may have slipped or fallen into their deaths. Or worse, they may have successfully made it down and bolted. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
May
I come back.
while I may have worked with Richard before and heard good things about Samir, in a situation like this, even the most rational men can do the wrong things. I thought I just heard something. The silence has fallen again over the fort, but for a second, as the wind had died, I almost swore I heard a crackling sound in the distance, 2-3 times. Then nothing, but it sounded too small to be gunshots. It couldn't have been. I hope they come back soon.
They ain't coming back. They're either going to be dead or gone.
Yeah.
It's creepy. All right, there's some dialogue in this next one, so go ahead and start reading.
Samir and Richard never...
What?
Oh, Wednesday, 2 July, 1952. Samir and Richard never returned. At dawn, I volunteered to try and set out to find a trace of them. Blake asked to accompany me, as did Corin, who said if they were injured, they would need his training. So gathering the medical kit, we prepared to leave, when Moretti stopped us.
I want you to take this,
he said, reaching into a supply bag. He withdrew the shotgun, which I instantly recognized as a Winchester model in 1897.
Ooh.
Handing it to me, he also pulled out a box of shells and passed them to Blake, who placed them in her pack.
Be safe, and God be with you,
he said. I nodded, and holding the gun tightly in both hands, the three of us stepped out of the fort, and after locating 2 sets of footprints, we set out following them. None of us spoke
a word as we followed the trail along, occasionally having to navigate around boulders and past treacherously narrow paths in what I hoped would lead to our compatriots, our friends. But as we continued on, the footsteps seeming to endlessly continue, I began to feel as though we three had, like them, seemingly slipped into an alternate reality where we would forever be trapped alone. Some what's it called?
Foreshadowing?
Not foreshadowing. Similar themes. I'm seeing a pattern. Some similar themes from past stories.
Oh, alternate realities.
Yeah.
That was when we discovered the end of the tracks. I didn't mean to say that they had led away down or even to the edge of the cliff. Rather, both sets came to a halt in the middle of an open space, dominated by low-hanging cliff faces behind us.
Sorry, I'm lost now. Oh, this doesn't make any sense,
Corin said as he looked around.
Where in the hell did they go?
Neither of us could answer him, but as I focused along the tracks, I noticed 2 small details I hadn't before, ones which made my heart begin to beat quicker in my chest. The first was that the footsteps, once so orderly and in rhythm with one another, suddenly began to erratically dance around each other, almost as if the men had begun wildly spinning around, looking in all directions. The second was the glint of a brass I saw almost hidden among the sand. I reached out with one hand, brushing away the top layer that had settled over in the night before. I found myself looking at several spent bullet casings. There were approximately 3 or 4 of them, all clumped together as though someone had emptied the revolver on the spot. I picked one up, rolling it over in my fingers. The beating sun had made it almost too hot to handle, but I could instantly tell that they were fresh. Weariness and dread began to gnaw at my insides. Something had happened here. That's when I heard Blake gasp. Turning, I found her staring at a section of the wall behind and to the left of us, a section which had been obscured by an overhang before. Her face had gone as white as a sheet and her eyes as white as saucers. With a trembling hand, she pointed at something and moaned out 3 words.
Mother of God!
A single smear of blood ascended the rock face. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough to spike my dread into full-blown terror. Quickly arching my back, I couldn't see where it would lead to, and it was obvious that its owner had been dragged upwards in a violent manner. Instantly, I raised the shotgun, feeling my hands go cold and clammy. Blake and Curran huddled behind me as we looked around rapidly, both at the overhang above us and further down the path. All I could hear was the whistle of the wind, nothing more. And that fact alone terrified me to no end. The whistle, the silence. It all seemed to hold a threatening edge to it now, a prelude to something horrific to come.
I motioned silently for the others to begin to back up behind me, alternating the shotgun's aim between the area above us and in front of us. Trying not to make any noise, we slowly began to move back to the fort. As we retreated, I swore I thought I heard the small pitter-patter sound of pebbles moving. I thought I saw a slight blur of motion just beyond my line of sight. My heart was racing in my chest, and my mouth turned as dry as cotton. In my time during the World War, I had bore witness to many horrific sights, many atrocities. More than once, I was sure I was about to die, and I swear on my sister's soul that I never felt as terrified as I did in those moments, my hands holding the gun beginning to shake, despite feeling as though whatever had taken Samir and Richard were lurking just beyond our field of view. We made it back to the fort unharmed. As soon as we were inside, I dropped the shotgun to the ground, and Richard and I found what must have been the broad to the barricade the front. Wait, what? I found what must have been the board to barricade the front doors, working together to pick it up and slam it into place. The large metal hooks, as we did, the others raced out of the water garden, demanding to know why we were sealing them inside. Corin turned to them as we finished, his eyes wild and face ashen in the fading light. Because Samir and Richard are fucking dead, that's why. His eyes of profanity slammed the words home, and I saw horrific looks across everyone's faces. Even Terex, even if he couldn't understand us that well, trying to remain calm, I stepped forward and, with as much rational clarity as I could muster, explained in crystal clarity everything we had seen, everything we had come across.
Wait, do we know for sure that they're dead?
No.
I mean, obviously,
their deaths weren't on screen or in scene,
yeah.
Right? So it's speculated that they're dead, but they might appear later in the story, either dead, that's confirmed they're dead, or as something else.
Okay.
I think they're gonna come back, but not as them.
They're gonna be monsters.
Yeah.
Zombies. Okay. As I finished, a deathly silence settled over all of us. In those moments, all we could hear was the wind, which had now risen from a whistle into a howl. The sun was beginning to set on the horizon, and it cast eerie shadows over the fort's courtyard. Nobody dared speak as the implications of our predicament sunk in, until I began to hear a low whine. For a moment, I was unable to discern where it came from, but as I looked around, I realized it was coming from Tarek. The Algerian looked, if possible, petrified to death and beyond. His face held the expression of one which had just had a death sentence passed on. The whine intensified, and he suddenly began to babble, speaking rapid strings of sentences that I didn't understand.
What's he saying?
Tally demanded. Moretti, knowing a little Arabic, raised a hand to silence him and stepped forward, asking a question to the panicking man. In response, Tarek babbled some more at him, and after a moment, I saw Moretti's brow furrow in confusion. He asked another question and received another panicked response. Tally stepped forward.
What did he say? Alessandro, please tell me.
Moretti continued to look at Tarek for a moment, then turned toward us.
I'm not sure, but I think he says that they are in the mountains. They hunt in the mountains. They are why his father and grandfather warned him to stay away from here.
Suddenly and without warning, Tarek turned and bolted for the fort's living quarters. I saw Moretti begin to take a step after him and then stopped. We watched as the man slammed his shoulder into the door, rushing inside and slamming it shut behind him. Fortunately, we did not hear it lock. After a moment, Tolly turned back to us. He took a deep breath.
All right, everyone, we need a plan.
The man's words seemed to bolster us, and we quickly and quietly began talking amongst ourselves. We decided it was no longer safe to stay outside, and following Tarek's footsteps, we would shelter at night in the living quarters, barricading ourselves inside.
We would also try and repair the broken radio, to try and send a call for help. Blake, in addition to being an archaeologist, was also proficient in repairing equipment. Our plan set in motion. We grabbed our supplies from the tents and moved inside. And now we all huddled trying to sleep in shifts in one of the main bunk rooms. Blake sleeps beside me. I can hear her uneasily rolling over as I write. Corin is doing the same a few cots away. Soren and Moretti patrolled the halls of the building with 2 of our 4 remaining guns. Tully holds onto the third, and in the meantime, I have traded Moretti the shotgun for a pistol of my own. I know I should try to rest. My own patrol shift will be in a few hours, and yet I cannot. I feel as though my dreams will be worse. Dreams seeing what happens to Samir and Richard, seeing them dragged upwards to a fate I feel is a blessing to not know. And I'm terrified that if I close my eyes, I will open them to find something looking at me, half hidden in the shadows, from the dull light of the lamp over our heads, ready to leap and end my existence in a blister of pain and horror. God, please save us. So that's the end of part 1. I can see some. I think the protagonist and Blake are gonna have some type of romance.
I can see that.
I don't know why, but I feel it coming. Also, what do we think so far, guys? Everyone who's watching, what do we think? We think about this whole situation. It's like it reminds me of like a video game that I've played before, where it's like an anthology horror game where they make decisions, but they're all trapped inside a ancient. I'm gonna say pyramid, but I don't think it was a pyramid. It was in Iraq or Afghanistan, so some type of like ancient castle fortress underneath the ground, and there's a bunch of like monsters and alien type things like trying to hunt them down. It's what it reminds me of. It's what I'm like picturing.
You know what it kind of reminded me of? I don't know if you've seen this movie, and I don't remember the name of it. I'll have to look it up later, but it's on Netflix, I think. But it's the guy from The Office. You know what I'm talking about? John or
which one? There's like 50 characters.
The main one.
Michael?
No, the other main one.
You're talking about the guy who messes with yeah,
I cannot think of names. Okay, he's in the movie, and then I think it's Natalie Portman.
Yeah, I know. Talking about Quiet Place.
No, talking about the one about like the archaeologist. Like their dad was an archaeologist, and then they went to like the pyramids in Egypt, and they went all the way down at the bottom because it was like hidden or whatever. And House of Ashes, I think that's what it is.
Well, House of Ashes. No, House of Ashes is the video game.
Oh my god, what is it called? And there's like a fountain of water down there. You know what? It like gives you life, or you die.
Dark Ancient Spirits.
Is
that are you commenting on like her talking about the movie, or are you talking about that's what you think that the monster is?
I'll be right back. Okay.
Yeah, I have that one. Dark Pictures of Anthology Ashes. That was a good one. I never finished it though. My friend wasn't into it, so he stopped playing it. It was crazy. This next part is, I don't know if it's as long, but it got some substance in here. And we'll get a little wrap up and figure out what's going on, you know? She gets back. Where's going here? Get that. A little bit more dialogue too. I think my favorite part is like reading the comments too on the story. Oh, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm interested. I want to keep going. We didn't take that many breaks in between because I'm like invested. Dark Ancient Spirits. Is that what the movie is called? Dark Ancient Spirits. Movie. No. Hold on. Group of teenagers. She's talking about John Krasinski. Let's see what movie she's talking about. Oh, yeah, you're right. The Fountain of Youth. Fountain of Youth. It is a bunch of... Yeah. Parasitic animals? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what movie you're talking about. You're talking about
I'm back.
Fountain of Youth.
Maybe there is a Fountain of Youth in there.
That's 100% what it is. What you're talking about.
The water.
Yeah, that's the one. It's a pyramid. In the picture, it was John Krasinski and a pyramid.
That's his name. That guy.
Yeah. All right. Part 2. Part apart. Yes, it is. I just looked it up. Stop arguing with me. I'm right. You looking it up?
Yeah. No, I was looking at the comments because I just got my phone. Okay, I'm ready. All right, Thursday, 3 July, 1952. I wrote today with what feels like, for the first time in eternity, a shred of good news. Blake has given an initial inspection of both the radio and telegraphs and has come to the conclusion that, while it will take a small amount of time, the damage dealt to both is within her means to repair. She has told us what she has told us that it will take, with the combination of supplies found within the living quarters and from our own bags, a maximum of 2 to 3 days to get back up to snuff. I can also report that during Soren and Moretti's watch, as well as accompanied by Corinne, my own, we saw and heard no trace of whatever lies out there. I hold no delusions that they may have left, though. All throughout the night, I could feel their eyes upon the fort, especially when I passed the window. Several times I would stop in front of them, swinging my head around and squint into the blackness. Of course, I saw nothing, but the hair that rose on my arms every single time assured me that, if the night were able to withdraw and allow the secrets it covers to be visible, I could have borne witness to a sight both blood-chilling and macabre. Oh my God, in its appearance. In the past, I often wished that God had given us the night vision that large predators were best bestowed with, but now I am beyond thankful he did not. I would hate to see at night.
You always mess up on macabre. It's one of your.
I know.
You always mess up on. For the
past, I would know that by now.
Yeah. For the most part, we have remained inside the living quarters, only venturing outside for brief periods of time to fetch water from the water garden. The fear and tension felt when doing so, though, is palpable enough to slice with a bloody razor, especially as if it sits directly next to the main hall of the fort. When it was my turn to refill our canteens, my head swiveled around my neck, not unlike an owl's, turning this way and that, and feeling that if I allowed even a second to glance away from a particular spot, I would turn to find the last thing I would ever see gazing into my eyes. Fortunately, whether due to a material the fort was built with or its position against the mountains, the interior remained relatively cool, even as the noonday sun beat down to the point I could see both of up close and in the distance the air itself shimmering with the temperature. I do have to mention one thing. Ever since Tarek fled inside the building the other day, he refuses to try and help us in any way. When asked by Moretti, all he could do is shake his head and repeat the words he spoke to us the other day. The words about the ones who live in the mountains before retreating into a supply closet. He remains there, only coming out briefly for food or water before returning to it. Okie dokie, dude.
So the ones that live in the mountains are the monsters that they're talking about that probably eat all the other people?
Yeah.
One other important thing to note, as we had some free time on our hands, I used it to further explore the living quarters, thoroughly checking every lockbox and supply case for things we could possibly use. In most, I have found only medical supplies, and in the upper levels of the building, 2 cannons, along with fuses, gunpowder, and a half-dozen cannonballs. However, as I further explored the upper areas, I found a metal lockbox that, after breaking the aged lock with the butt of my revolver, held 2 flare pistols within. Each only had a single flare, already loaded inside with no sign of additional flares nearby. I showed them to Moretti and the others, who agreed that they would be stowed away to use if any sign of life were spotted in the desert below.
These may be what end up saving our hearts.
Tally said. The sun is setting now, and with the descent of the orange, almost blood-red sun over the horizon, I feel like whatever safety we felt in the daylight is disappearing before my very eyes. I pray we make it through the night.
Friday, July 4th, 1952. Oh, the way this one starts. The screams. I find it I struggle to put to ink and paper the object of horror and shock that I feel this morning. But I must, if only to try and help preserve the fleeting sanity that almost seems to precautiously cling to me. Just night, Sora and I were tasked with taking the first watch, patrolling the halls and rooms until 1:30 in the morning, when we would rose by relief by Moretti and Corin. Soren carried the shotgun, while I remained with my pistol. Slowly, silently, we moved through the building, occasionally covering to confirm no sign of trouble, and poking around heads into bunk room to check on the others. The only sound that could be heard, aside from the whistling wind and creaking of the ancient building, was the soft ticking of the watch on my wrist. Its unsupple march seeming to bring a little comfort to me. That was when I heard it. At first, I couldn't identify the sound. It was too far off in the distance and too muffled to properly make out. It barely carried on the wind, almost being whisked away completely, but as the moment spilled over the mountains, as the moment spilled into minutes, I realized that it was slowly growing louder, which meant whatever it was getting closer. Feeling my heart begin to race in my chest, I raised my revolver and pulled back the hammer, my eyes straining to see into the darkness. The sound continued to increase in volume, and for a moment I froze. For a moment, I had almost recognized it. A shiver passed through me as I gripped the windowsill slightly in one hand, the other shaking slightly as I aimed the gun into the black. That was when a hand fell on my shoulder.
I nearly jumped out of my skin, whirling around to find Soren standing behind me, the shotgun raised toward the ceiling in his free hand and an intense look upon his face. He looked at me.
I hear it too,
he said simply in response to my unspoken question. For another moment, the two of us stood there, straining our ears as we held by the window. The sound continued to grow nearer, and I felt another shiver pass through me. I can't understand why, but I almost swore I recognized the sound. Finally, I whispered back to Soren.
What is that?
He remained silent for another moment or so. Then I saw his face go slightly pale in recognition, his expression changing from stone to clearly unnerved.
Screaming. There was another stretch of silence between us, and we both strained our ears. I prayed for a moment that he was wrong, but as the wind fell for a moment, I felt the blood in my veins turn to ice as it came again. Clear this time. It was indeed screaming. What's more, the source was unmistakably human. I had heard far too many men to count scream on the battlefield during World War. I heard men shriek, their last after they had stepped on a landmine and lay, blown apart and rapidly bleeding out on the ground with it too dangerous to try and retrieve them. I heard the screams of captured Germans in the bunkers as operatives went to work extracting information from them. These screams not only rivaled them, but surpassed them. They were the most horrible, panicked, and pained sounds I had ever heard a human being utter. It sounded nothing less than as if the screamer were being flayed alive, feeling every single cut and peel of their skin. And then terror I felt compounded as a second rose up. A second scream. One which rose and fell beside the first, occasionally overlapping it until it sounded as though we were hearing the damned souls of hell itself crying out for release. His eyes wide, Soren turned to me and said only 3 words. Rouse the others. Rouse the others.
Soon we were all standing by the window, every expression a mirror of the fear on the other, as we listened to the infernal sound that now almost sounded as if it were coming from just beyond the sealed front doors of the fort. Blake clasped a hand over her mouth, closing her eyes and leaning against me. I wrapped an arm protectively around her, pulling her close to me as I looked at the others. Corinne looked as though he were about to faint from terror.
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph,
he breathed. I saw Tally swallow hard, but it was a look that swept across Moretti's face that drew my attention. It was one of recognition. He fought to find his voice for a moment, then softly spoke, his voice almost lost to the shrieks outside.
Samir!
Everyone turned to look at him at the single word he uttered. I felt a small wave of confusion wash over me. Then, if possible, I saw Soren's face go even paler than it already was.
God almighty, that is Samir. And that other scream. I remember how Richard yelled when he broke his ankle a few years ago. That's him.
Fresh waves of horror rolled over us like the sea of the information as
the sea of information sunk in.
I had been on the same expedition with 2 men when Richard had broken his ankle climbing a rock. I prayed to the God I hoped was listening like they were wrong, but in my bones I knew they weren't. I knew we were hearing the screams of our 2 lost
compatriots.
Yep. Tally suddenly began to turn toward the stairs to the lower floor, yanking his own pistol from his holster.
We have to help them. We have to help them!
He yelled, beginning to sprint away. Just as quickly, Soren and Moretti began to chase after him, telling him to wait. Still holding on to Blake, I jerked my head for Corinne to follow and hurried after them.
Keep going.
As we descended the stairs, we found Soren restraining Tally, his face enraged in the flickering light of the lamp above.
Let me go, damn you!
He yelled, attempting to kick the larger man to free himself. Moretti leaned forward towards him.
Use your brain, you stupid fool. There's a reason why it's coming from just outside the fort. If whoever or whatever it is out there wants us to go out there, it's a trap.
Hold on, I got lost for a second. Where are you? Yep, Tally kicked at Soren again, but this time it was weaker.
You don't know that! They could have found their way back!
Soren shook his head.
After what Liam and the others found? No, they couldn't. Especially not after 2 days. I'm sorry, Mr. Tally, but Alessandro was right. They're counting on our emotions to get the better of us. It's designed to lure us out into the open.
Tally closed his eyes and turned his head away, almost in denial of what I had realized was true myself, but I could see the words sinking in.
He slowly slumped, Soren realizing the man and allowing. Sorry, god damn it. Soren releasing the man and allowing him to crumble to the ground, pulling his knees toward him and wrapping his arms around them. Standing in the narrow hall, we all listened to the screaming of our two friends continue outside for a few moments. Then, as it began to feel as though the sounds would drive us all mad, they slowly began to move away. The screaming grew fainter, the sound of the wind beginning to mask it again, until finally we couldn't hear it at all. For a time, nobody moved. I glanced at my watch, seeing that it was 2:45 in the morning. I hadn't realized how long the terrifying ordeal had really lasted. Finally, Talia stood up. He refused to meet any of our eyes. He sunk back upstairs. Corin followed close behind him. I felt a sense of worry at what I saw in the second man's eyes. The look was akin to one of cornered animal wares, revealed that he was close to the edge. Soon, all of us had returned to the upper levels, already relieving me of my watch and ordering me to try and rest.
But sleep is the last thing I could obtain right now. Not when the horror of what we experienced is still so fresh in my mind. Blake has somehow managed to drift back off, though I can hear her dreams are nightmares by how she moans and wriggles on her cot. So I write, not knowing what else to do. I pray for the rising sun to come soon and banish away the small taste of hell that I witnessed tonight. One last thing. I only noticed once we returned from upstairs, but not once during the entire ordeal did Tarek join us. I only saw him when we returned upstairs, peeking out from the closet to stare at us with wide eyes. The look on his face is one I remember well from the medical tents, on the faces of wounded soldiers who knew they were about to die. It was the look of a man who had resigned himself to his fate. So we still don't know what happened. They've just been hearing screaming for hours.
What it seems like is that these monsters, entities, or whatever the fuck they are, basically placed these guys in front of the building to lure them out. And then the fainting of their screaming was probably them being dragged away because they knew that it wasn't going to work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Saturday, 5 July, 1952. Whatever lives in these godforsaken mountains, it will now allow us to make a call for help. Blake finished repairing both the radio and telegraph today. For a few moments, we clung to a tiny scrap of relief, like a shipwrecked victim in a life ring. We crowded around her as she began to send a distress call, tuning to the proper frequency. Something answered us, but not what we hoped. Almost as soon as she released the transmit button, a sound spilled from the speakers. At first, it was too soft to make out, but soon grew in intensity until we could clearly recognize it. Whispering. Voices, dozens of them or more, all whispering in a language none of us could ascertain or understand. It was not Arabic. I doubt it's a language any human has spoken in millennia, if ever at all. The sound made chill after chill shoot up my spine. I could see horrified looks in others' faces. The whispering continued, soon joined by screaming, and I swear I heard some mere and richer screams among the others. The same screams we heard the other night. Finally, the radio just seemed to die completely, the glowing dial dimming to black. No matter how much Blake fiddled with it, we couldn't get it to turn on again. That is terrifying.
Ooh, some whispers from the radio of all the victims?
Dozens of people whispering.
Ooh, it's almost like tortured souls. I like that. That's cool.
Oh.
And sooner she turned to the telegraph using Morse code to type out an SOS, then we received an answer, far quicker than anyone could possibly respond. I remember the look of confusion on her face as she reached out and pulled some piece of paper from the machine, raising it to her eyes and reading it. When she lowered it, she looked to be on the verge of tears. "What does it say?" asked Moretti. Moretti asked her gently. She took a moment before answering, swallowing hard. No saving. I'm myself terrified. Now, not just for my life, but for my very soul.
That's terrifying.
Dang.
I don't like that.
Dang. What is this thing? Keep reading.
Sunday, 6 July 1952. Soren is gone. I was roused shortly before dawn by Moretti, who gazed down at me with an expression with which shocked me. Throughout the entire ordeal, the man had attempted to remain calm. Now, as he pulled me to my feet, I found myself staring at an almost panicked face. Trying to keep his voice level, he explained that when he had not seen Soren crossing his path after doing so thrice before, he had gone looking for the man. He discovered the shotgun leaning against the wall near one of the cannons, with no sign of him at all. What's worse was that there was not a single sign of a struggle. It was as if he'd been ambushed and simply lifted up and out of the world with a nary splash of blood or scream. He handed me the shotgun, asking him to help secure the building with him. Quickly, and with the worried eyes of the others turning on us, they woke. We swept through the living quarters, our guns at the ready and eyes darting around. To my dismay, we discovered that the door to the courtyard was still bolted from inside, indicating that Soren hadn't walked outside, which meant whatever had happened to him had happened in here. Every shadow cast by the flickering candles and lamps now seemed threatening. Whatever safety we felt inside, torn away like a favorite blanket from a child. I want to say my eyes were playing tricks on me, but I fear that as I moved through the living quarters, my eyes occasionally would spy something moving swiftly and silently among the rafters over our head, only stopping for a moment to watch us before darting out of sight.
Once down. Oh gosh, hold on. My elbow's spazzing me right now. Give me a second. Once dawn broke, and despite the door being locked, we left the living quarters and moved out into the courtyard. We still found no trace of the man, and the front doors were still barricaded. We made a quick pass through the armory, still finding nothing before quickly stepping into refill our canteens. While water is obviously not an issue, we still soon begin running low on food. But I fear it is not starvation that will be the end of us. Saturday, 6th July 1952. Addendum. This is the same day, by the way, so everyone's tracking. The screaming is back. It came just after nightfall, and it's still Samir and Richard's screams, sounding almost exactly as before. Only now I hear Soren's deep, guttural cries amongst them. God, I don't want to die here. I don't want my fate to be whatever theirs now are. They got him. They got Soren.
Do you think they're alive or do you think they're dead?
I think they're dead. I think whatever is making the noises are not them.
Like they're mimicking?
It says right here, right? If you read, if you listen, if you understand carefully, the screaming is back, and it came after nightfall. It is still Samir and Richard's screams, sounding almost exactly as before. Like almost
like a recording.
Yeah. So maybe that's what their screams were like right before they died, and then whatever this thing is outside is mimicking them. That's what I think.
I hate that. I hate any story about a mimic. Add it to the list of long things of everything I hate. Sunday, 7 July 1952. Tarek is dead. At first, when we awoke, nothing new seemed out of place. The same creaking out of the building could be heard, but nothing more screamed of the change. Until I went to try and bring the Algerian some food and water. I found the door to the supply closet standing wide open, and when I peered inside, it was empty. Feeling tension suddenly erupt from my body, I turned and began calling for the man, attracting the attention of Moretti and Tali, who were on their patrols. Once I showed them the empty closet, the three of us fanned out, all calling the man's name, and Moretti calling out who had to be soothing words in Arabic. But there was no response at all, aside from the confused calls of Corin and Blake as they awoke and joined us. That's when I saw the open front door.
Inside of the living quarters door hanging wide open, gently waving in the breeze and showing the sand outside. The sun just beginning to spread across it filled me with a sense of dread. Quickly, I called the others, and after a quick discussion, Moretti and I moved outside, while Tully closed and bolted the door behind us. We instantly spotted a set of footprints in the sand. Moving away from the building, out into the center of the courtyard, we followed them, seeing that they'd stopped near the steps to the armory, as if the man had contemplated running to it before turning and heading toward the front doors of the fort itself. Even from here, I could see that the board had been pulled down. It now lay haphazardly on the ground, and one of the great wooden doors had been pulled slightly open. Gripping the shotgun tightly, the two of us moved and looked outside. Nothing moved in the stillness, and beside the wind, no sound could be heard. I looked to him, and he gave a short nod before stepping outside. Instantly, I felt far more vulnerable without the buildings around me. Just as when I had gone looking for Samir and Richard, my hands turned cold and clammy. And I nervously eyed the still shadowy areas around us. Even the sense was on alert. Every sense was on alert. We followed the man's footprints as they continued forward, and with a sinking feeling, I realized that they were heading far the edge of the cliff. Moretti seemed to have realized it as well, and I saw him tentatively take a few steps forward, putting one hand of the rickety wooden railing and peering over the side. For a moment, he said nothing. Then he closed his eyes. Fucking hell.
Quickly, I hurried to his side and looked over. A small sense of vertigo overwhelmed me, and I felt dizzy looking down the straight drop. But I instantly spied what the other man had seen. Tarek's body lay far below us, his arms and legs splayed out in various directions. Bright crimson blood splashed out around his body. Even from here, I could tell he had not landed on the sand, but had instead slammed into one of the boulders at the base of the cliff. The man had jumped, knowingly taking his own life. I whispered a silent prayer for the man, hoping that God would have mercy on him for such a terrible sin. Then I looked at Moretti. All he could do was shake his head. As we stood there attempting to process it all, a noise behind us caused us to turn around. The pitter-patter of sand and small loose rocks being shifted aside. Instantly, all thoughts of Tarek vanished as the sensation of eyes on us returned with a vengeance. Terror began coursing through my system, and we aimed at just about anywhere possible. Nothing moved now, and I knew he could feel us being observed, being stopped. Without a delay, the two of us ran for the fort, rushing inside and pushing the door closed before again setting the barricade. Just as quickly, we moved to the door to the living quarters, banging on it and yelling to be let inside. To our relief, the door bolted, revealing the ashen face of Blake as she yanked the door open. We hurried inside as she closed and redid the lock.
Keep going.
Before we could tell her what she found, she pointed back towards the hallway to the stairs.
You need to see this,
she said before leading the way back toward the main bunk room. Moments later, we found ourselves at the empty closet that Tarek had hidden in. The others crowded around it, and I noticed something I hadn't before. In my haste to locate the man, I hadn't noticed that using a small sealed can of black paint and a brush which had been left inside, he had written something hastily on the wall in Arabic. Tally turned to Moretti, asking him if he could read it. He stood in silence for a time, either unable or unwilling to answer. Then he turned towards us, his face grim.
Roughly translated, it says that death is better than what fate awaits those who are taken.
It was dark now. Night had fallen again. Though mercifully, the screams had not returned. All I could think as I sat here writing is that whatever lies out there, whatever watches us from the shadows in there, up in the rafters that I now know isn't a trick of my eyes, it is slowly toying with us and picking us off one by one. They have taken our strongest members first, a strategic move that reveals their intelligence, and drove possibly the only person in our party with any knowledge about them to the point he had chose to take his own life rather than face them. Whatever they are, they will not stop until we are all dead.
Sunday, July 8th, 1952. I saw them. Dear, sweet, merciful God, I wish I hadn't. I wish I hadn't decided to take a torch with me when I was roused by Tully. To take the second watch with Corin, I wished I'd ignored the urge. I had turned and looked out the window. I wish so much. But if wishes were horses, it happened just a little before 4 in the morning. I just finished speaking briefly with Corin. Ever since yesterday, I'd grown more concerned for the medic. The man looks nearer and nearer to insanity, and I fear with a loaded pistol he may do something brash or violent, as if he snaps. But he assured me that he was still as sane as he could possibly be in such a situation. And feeling somewhat relieved, I moved off to patrol the outer hallways again. As I passed the window, which looked out over the country yard, the ceaseless sensation of being watched suddenly spiked. I felt the biggest shiver yet shoot up my spine, and I reached down for my belt. I'd chosen to take a torch with me for light, and light up any dark corners. After now, feeling sure we were not alone in here anymore, I wanted a way to light up any dark corners. I flicked it on, turning and aiming it out the window, into the dark toward the armory, and I saw it.
It crouched, almost feline-like, on the roof of the armory, arms and legs wrapped around a section of the stone for support. As my light fell upon it, it looked towards me before quickly leaping out of sight, but not before I could see the details. The sunken eyes, sunken so far back it almost looked as if it had none. The recessed nose almost entirely erased from its face. The mouth filled with jagged, razor-sharp teeth that he could easily tear a man apart. All of this filled me with an existential horror I had only ever felt when hearing about hell during church sermons. But it was the one additional detail that slammed into me like a freight train. The torn, tattered, and decaying uniform that hung off its emaciated body. It was a uniform that I instantly recognized. I had seen an identical, albeit much more intact, one on the corpse of the man in the armory jail. The uniform worn by soldiers in the French Foreign Legion during the First World War and into the 1930s. As my mind scrambled to process the information, another shape darted in the view of my torch beam, and this one nearly caused me to scream because it wore a different, much fresher uniform.
The same one that Richard had worn when he'd set off with Samir that day. It's like a werewolf. That's what I'm saying.
You think it's a werewolf?
It's what it seems like. It is midday now as I write this. I have not told anybody what I've seen. I know I must, and I cannot bear to share the horrid truth that I now know what Tarek almost certainly knew, and what made him choose death by his own hand over. Even though I know now that none of us will leave this mountain alive, I feel that it would be too cruel for them to know. Those things out there, they may have been hidden in this mountain for Lord only knows how long. When the fort was first built centuries ago, they may have watched as it was constructed. But the most horrible part about them was that when they came for them, the same as they came for the French soldiers stationed here decades ago, as well as the rescue party, is that they did not kill them, did not devour them. As horrific a fate as that might have been, it would have been a mercy in comparison. They dragged them off and they changed them. They somehow turned them into more of their own.
And they have done the same to those of our team who they took. Samir, Richard, and Soren. That's why the screams we heard always came back. Because even though they were not the same men anymore, they're not even human anymore, their souls have long been stripped away, leaving what I can only describe as demons spewing from the mouths of hell itself to wear their bodies. They still retain enough of their intelligence to know how to lure others to them. Like a duck hunter with a call, they draw their prey out into the open. Tally says he wants to try and use one of the flare pistols to signal anyone who might be nearby. I haven't had the heart to tell him that even if any human is nearby, they know better than to approach this place. They know it is cursed. It is only a matter of time before they come for the rest of us. God have mercy on all of our souls.
Whew. Told ya. What'd I say?
You said werewolf. Is that a werewolf?
No, but like I said that they're gonna be changed and it's gonna be
Yeah.
them. You know? Crazy.
It's like them, but not them.
Yeah. Tuesday, 9 July 1952.
That was loud.
Jesus. These will be the final words I will ever write. The others are all gone, and I am the only one who remains. How long was this injury from the last one? Oh, just a day.
A day? Jeez.
Jesus Christ, a lot happened. Goodwin says that Algeria and North Africa have myths about ghouls.
I'm gonna have to read some of those.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. The others are all gone, and I am the only one who remains. Night is coming fast, and if I do not act quickly, I know they will return for me as well. So even if no one ever finds this journal of mine, I feel I must put to paper how it ended. Nothing more than to serve a warning for anyone who hears the tale of the accursed place and finds themselves 1 part brave, 2 parts fool to try and reach it. What awoke us was not the hell spawn that lay in wait for us. It was the sound of arguing, of babbling screams, and finally the sound of a weapon and some sort of being discharged. I remember the look on Blake's face as she woke, looking at me with wide doe-like eyes. I snatched up the shotgun from beside me, seeing Moretti pulling his pistol from his waistband as he shot to his feet in unison. We sprinted for the hallway outside the bunk rooms. When we opened it, it was to a truly grisly sight. Tali lay on his back on the floor. A shocked look was permanently fixed to his face, his wide eyes glassy and forever staring at the ceiling. Sparks from a flame that had been shot into his mouth still spewed from inside of the horrific smell of burning flesh, filling the hallway. Standing in front of him, still pointing the flare gun, was Corin. Jesus. When he turned towards us, I instantly knew the man had snapped. An insane grin was plastered on his face, and his eyes flew about in their sockets. Instantly, Moretti and I raised our weapons. Before anything could be done, Corin had shoved past us and raced down the stairs. We heard him unbolt the front door and running to the windows, saw him sprint across the courtyard to the armory, whispering down the stairs. A moment later, we heard the faint sound of the door slamming shut. How you let him get by you?
They were shocked. They had that creepy, evil smile on his face.
Nah,
and they were just like...
And I'd have been like, and I started blasting. Bang, 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 bang!
I would have been like, and I blacked out and don't remember what happened.
I would have shot him before he even turned around. I'm like, well, all right, well, you're done. That's it.
Nobody could speak. When I turned back, it was to find Blake standing over the body of our sponsor, unable to stop crying. Quickly, I raced to her and embraced her, allowing her tears to soak my shirt. After a few minutes, her crying had reduced to sniffles, and she pulled back, wiping her nose with her shirt sleeve. I looked at Moretti. The man looked beside himself with shock and confusion. He hadn't realized how close to the edge his medic had been. Then he regained his composure, looking towards me with the steely edge in his eyes. When he spoke, his voice was deadly calm.
We have to go after him.
I was unsure as to why, after murdering our sponsor, the man wanted to pursue him. Whether for a twisted sort of retribution or a sense of duty to those under his leadership, which in such extreme cases I will never know, but I didn't dare argue with him. I knelt down, gently prying the pistol from Tally's hand and trying not to look at his face. Standing again, I handed it to her.
I was highlighting what Goodwin said. That's why you're confused. Sorry. Can you fire a gun?
She looked at me and nodded after a moment. Nodding in return, I quickly retreated to the bunk room, picking up the pack which still held the shotgun shells and slinging it over my shoulder. Returning, I nodded to the others, and together we headed downstairs and out the front door.
The wind howled as fiercely as a banshee as we made our way across the country yard. All three of our guns shifted around aim. I remembered what I had seen the night before and felt my muscles tense, gaze shifting to the tops of the ridges high above the fort. I felt sure I would see the demons climbing quickly down towards us. Thankfully, I saw nothing. Reaching the steps, we descended to the front door of the armory and found it unlocked. Stepping aside the gloomy interior, we moved slowly, occasionally calling out Corin's name. Not a soul answered. For a moment, I wondered if the man had been taken as well. When his back was turned, after all, we had barely explored the building, choosing to huddle inside the living quarters.
As we rounded a corner, though, I saw signs that he was still here. Barrels of gunpowder laid on their sides, the black grain spilling out onto the floor. A workbench had its tools scattered about. That was when I noticed a hole in the floor, one I hadn't seen previously. I would have ignored it completely if it hadn't been for the sparkle that came from something laying next to it. As we approached I realized...
Hold on, pause here. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the story. And it is being recorded, so you can come back where you left off. So, thank you again. Appreciate the you sticking for so long. Sorry.
I would have ignored it completely if it hadn't been for the sparkle that came from something laying next to it. As we approached, I realized it was a diamond, one of the largest I'd ever seen in my life. And when I peered into the hole, I couldn't help but feel my mouth drop open as I saw precious gems and gold coins that filled the entire hole, piled into what I could tell was a hidden room below. The treasure had been real. Even in our predicament, the three of us couldn't help but look at each other and laugh softly.
Well, at least we know that the stories of the treasure was true. Tully was right.
Blake said softly. For another moment, we stared. Then we slowly tore ourselves away from the treasure, moving on and calling out Corin's name. Still nobody answered, and I could begin to feel that we should simply leave the building. As much as I could understand to a degree Moretti's reasoning, it was being dangerously foolhardy, but I never had a chance to voice my thoughts. As we rounded the final corner to the jail, a shot rang out, the bullet striking the wall not a foot from Moretti's face. The three of us leapt back, pressing up against the wall for cover. Another shot rang out, and then for a moment, an eerie silence fell over the hall. Then I heard Corinne scream, the insanity audible in his voice.
Stay away! I found the treasure! It's mine! Mine, not yours!
Moretti chanced to look around the corner, snapping his head back as a third shot rang out.
He's managed to get the keys from the dead man in the cell and locked himself in.
He told us.
And he's got some of the treasure scattered around him.
He looked at us, and I already knew what he would say before he opened his mouth.
Fuck him. We gotta go.
Quickly, the three of us backtracked through the armory to the front door. We slipped outside and began to run across towards the living quarters. They were waiting for us.
Oh.
Who was waiting for them?
The monsters.
The men in the mountains?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had barely made it halfway across the courtyard when what I could only describe as a blur of motion flew down from the window of the living quarters. I saw Moretti look up at the shape rocketing toward him, screaming. Saw him rise his pistol to fire. He never even had a chance to let off a single shot. The creature slammed into him, knocking him to the ground and sending the revolver tumbling from his fingers. The beast looked at me, and with horrified realization, I recognized the blue eyes set deep in the already recessed sockets. Then, gripping Meridia's shoulder with one of its clawed hands, it leapt off the ground, pulling the screaming man with him, as it rapidly climbed the rock out of sight. We had no time to grieve or process any of it because the rest of came for us. Everything blurred together in those moments, much as it does in war when adrenaline and reflex take over. I cannot remember anything clearly, only faintly recall the sounds of deafening gunshots as we fired at all we could see. The motion of reaching into the pack of extra ammunition for Blake and myself. The sounds of the two of us shooting and screaming, and the pained and enraged cries of creatures as our shells and rounds slammed home. I was dimly aware that we were moving toward the water garden. The next thing I can recall is the silence.
I found Blake and I slumped against the wall near the fountain. She had pulled me closer to her and she had cupped some water into her hands, using it to sprinkle over my brow and dip into my mouth. The refreshing, blessed liquid brought me back fully. And when I asked her what had happened, she told me after a time they had all retreated. None had died even after we'd all fired at them, but they still retreated. As I looked around, wondering for a moment if we'd succeeded in frightening them off, my eyes fell on the sight which wrenched whatever hope I had left in my soul. The sun was beginning to set in the sky. I instantly knew that the only reason they had retreated was to wait until darkness fell again. It had been a strategic move. They would wait until the night blinded us, and when they could still see perfectly, and when they would come again, either to kill us or drag us off like the others, like I've seen the beast Soren had become due to Moretti, to make us like them. In those moments, any remaining thoughts of surviving fled from them. I said nothing, however. I climbed to my feet, looking around. Then I looked around at Blake. She gave me a strange smile. Even still, it made her look beautiful. I smiled back at her. Finally, she sighed and pushed her mousy hair behind her ear, looking up at me.
What do we do now?
I didn't answer her. Instead, I simply shook my head to indicate I didn't know. I waited until she had lowered her head and closed her eyes. Then, before she could open them again, I swung the barrel of the shotgun and aimed. At who?
Whoa!
At who?
Whoa! God damn! Wait. Just fucking killed her! Jesus!
I was not expecting that.
He said, oh my god, that's crazy. I was not expecting that's a twist. He said, I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Imagining that name. Oh my god!
Oh my god. Okay. I find a sort of peace in that she never knew what was about to happen. And now that I am done writing my account, all of this, I have but one thing left to do. I refuse to let the demons change Blake into one of their own. As much as I know my soul is damned
That's fucking selfish.
For the unforgivable sin I have committed against her, it was mercy, and it was the same mercy I will give myself.
That's so fucking selfish.
That is selfish.
Fuck this guy.
Oh my god. So I guess not really a romance for them.
Well, I mean, he obviously had a thing for her, but he's like, I can't let her look so insane. Ugly. I have to kill her. That's wild.
I was not expecting that.
Fuck. They were treated. They probably could have tried to.
No, they weren't. They were gonna die eventually. But still selfish.
Tried. All right, keep going.
I am going to follow the same path that Tarek took. I will jump off the cliff. I will face my own death at the hands of the rocks below, rather than the fate that has befallen the others. That is, beyond all shadow of a doubt, a fate worse than any death imaginable. I pray for my own soul. I pray for Blake's. I pray for Tally's. I even pray for Corinne's.
That's weird.
I hope that, like the soldier before him, it is thirst or hunger that takes him. Please heed the dire warning this journal contains. While there is treasure above you, do not attempt to climb and retrieve it. You will not live to spend a single bloody shilling of it. The beasts above have claimed it, and the fort for their own. Let it be, if you value not only your life, but your humanity and very soul. For if you don't, you will find yourself facing the fate that is more horrific than written in any tome. And please, if you find this, get word back to my sister in Maidenhead. Tell her I'm sorry. God, forgive me.
And that's the end of the story of the whole thing. Pretty fucking crazy that he chose to jump off and jump off and kill himself that way. I would have probably just done the shotgun, be quicker.
I was not expecting that ending.
He said, "Bang!"
Oh my god, that's good. That's cool.
That's a good story. What we think? What we think, everyone who's still here watching? I got some fans here. Some people said this was absolutely gripping and chilling.
It was gripping and chilling. I like a good twist that I don't see coming.
Jesus Christ. He really just said, that's it. It's curtains for all of us.
Mm-hmm. That's wild. That was good.
I thought it was good. I don't really have any questions. I think it was a really good story. It felt like it really felt like the video game I played. A little bit different monsters. But it was good. I like the pacing of it. It was a good slow burn.
Yeah. So. That's good. Cool.
The twist at the end where I was not expecting that. That was crazy.
Me neither.
I thought he was gonna get out. Did it start with some guy? Let's see. Part 1 started with some guy finding this book, right?
Mm-hmm. I like one of the bazaars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know how they got the book is the question. Right? That's kind of weird. Right?
I don't know. Yeah. How did it make it out of there if nobody else can make it out of there? Right. Wait, that's a good question.
Yeah, JL did write it. He is the author.
What did he say?
Yeah, it definitely has some parallels. I liked it. How do we like this format? Cool down song here.
I hope our reading wasn't too terrible. We can't edit out a live.
I thought we did a good job. I think we messed up a little bit.
It's more pressure.
I think knowing that we're live actually helped us read better. To be honest. He has plenty of stories. You've listened to some of the stories you read by him before. He has a bunch. I'm trying to find a good song here.
Oh, okay. He said someone wandering the desert found the bodies of the main character and Tarek at the bottom of the mountain and took the journal from his body.
Oh. Got it. That makes sense.
Cool.
That makes sense. All right. Well, that was good. I liked it. I think I like this live format too, compared to just the video. I like interacting with the audience live than over the edited video. So, got a couple people in here that enjoyed it. So, and y'all can go rewatch it whenever you want. So
yeah, that's fun.
But yeah, if you're new to the channel, like and subscribe. If you're not into the channel, then welcome back. And we'll be doing more of this. We haven't decided on the day we're just doing Monday because I'm going on vacation this week, and I won't be in my normal recording studio. But we're gonna do more of that. What day? Since we have 6 people in here, 7 people in here. What day are y'all looking to watch? Something like this, like a story read, or even us just talking about like a horror show or movie that we've watched, anything like that. Like, what's the consensus? What day is better? Because today it's just because we're doing Monday because I'm gonna be gone. We'll see. See if we have anybody that wants to answer that. Give it a couple minutes. Got a comment here. I think the other week's perfect for me. Right. That's Thursdays or Fridays. Yeah, I was thinking Thursdays too. I think Thursdays is a good. Yeah, I think Thursdays is a usual good time for most people because it's like Fridays. Some people are out. People are out. What's it called? Doing stuff on Fridays, and Thursdays is more of a I'm glad the week's almost over type of days. So yeah, I was thinking Thursdays too for this continuing. Has your days off, right? We might end up reading it on here. That would be a long stream, so we have to prepare for that. Thursdays would be great. All right, I think we'll do that then. And Thursdays usually works best for me and Andrea too. We actually usually record on Thursdays, right? That's when we usually record, either Mondays or Thursdays, right? Because Wednesdays you got your other podcast, and Fridays I have my stream. So all right, yeah, we'll start doing that. And then we'll do. I'm thinking for the next story we're gonna get. I want to read another one of those. We gotta read either the other author that we always have. We have a bunch of stories of as well. The one that wrote Hotel Morte.
Oh yeah.
He's got a bunch. I want to read something with ghosts in it, right? For the next.
I want to read a ghost one too.
Yeah, I want to read a ghost one. A ghost story. So we'll find an author or figure out that the stories other than the authors that we usually read, the stories that we've been I've been seeing on No Sleep lately have been not the best. It's kind of been a little stale lately. So I've been looking at older ones. Oh, you know what? I know we can read. I know what we'll read. We can do. There's 2 stories. They're not ghost stories, but they're really good. Left Right Game, or Stolen Tongues. Phenomenal stories. Left Right Game is it would be a long stream, but it'd be worth it. It might be almost like a 2-part stream, maybe, if it just goes too long. Or Stolen Tongues, which is one of my favorite stories as well.
I haven't heard either of those.
Huh?
I haven't heard either of those.
Yeah, you haven't read it, so it'll be good because we would read it and you'd be super surprised.
Yeah.
There's new rules in No Sleep. I got a couple stories posted on there with no issue, but I was able to take a third person story and make it into a first person story, which wasn't too hard. But yeah, I really like Left Right Game, and I really like Stolen Tongues, and those are phenomenal stories. They're really good. There's a lot of characters in them. We also gonna find, a ghost one. We just have to look around. If you want to look, and I'll look.
And if anybody has some suggestions.
Oh, you can't do journal stories. You can't do journal stories. That's stupid. Oh, is it because journal stories are like? But yeah, if you go to the Discord, you can drop in a ghost story yourself. I've been looking at r/scary stories. That's where I post most of mine, or creepypasta, on Reddit, or just going to the website, get stories. It's a shame too. One of my favorite authors. He is a published author. A lot of the stories on his website we're not able to do because we have to pay for them. It's like 50 cents per word or something like that. Something crazy, like $0.50 per word. I'm not doing that. Unless we get sponsored, then we'll do it. But yeah, we'll find a story. But yeah, I like this format. I like this. I like how we started off. I like how we talk for a couple minutes, 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes beforehand, and let everyone get in. So no one's coming in late to the story. We'll read a couple a short story or a couple 2-sentence horrors at the beginning, so people can funnel in. Yeah, we could read my dad's. I could do that. It's a short one. That would be a long stream too because it's a book. It's a short book, but it's still a book.
He has a book?
It's like about this big.
We should read that.
If you ever do a Twilight Zone style story, check out my story. Same abandoned towns shouldn't be explored. I think he said that was to us too. Well, we'll get you back in rotation, Goodwin. We can't do you every time, but we can do you frequently. It's gotta be like Goodwin and then 2-3 stories and then Goodwin.
But we will read them though.
Yeah, we gotta give love to everybody else. I'm making a list, but yeah, I'll find something. I've been putting a list. It's hard sometimes because the people on Reddit don't always respond, and I don't like reading stories without permission from the author. I think it's rude, so we have to wait. We have to be careful with it. And also, we had one writer who we recorded one, and then we asked her afterwards, and she said, "Yeah, but you need to pay me for it." So we were like, "Okay, we're just not going to post it then." So
that's true. That did happen.
Yeah, it was a good story too. And I said, "Well, we're not going to read it then." But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we will be doing this. I don't think next week because I will be gone, but the following week we will continue with the stream. And yeah, like, subscribe, and
comment nice things.
Yeah. All right, guys, we will see you next time. Sleep well and stay away from abandoned castles in the desert that people disappear at.
Fair.
Probably not the great idea to be at. See y'all later.